Shalom. Call La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone who still rule and teach well, and peace and blessings and safety unto the Lord's elect, scattered throughout the four corners of the planet Earth, mainly in America, who are pushing this word in humility and sincerity as commanded by Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And this is a Netflix series called Billionaires Bunker. I started watching it because, obviously, of the name and how it ties into Bible prophecy and also the times that we're living in. Now, I'll say I'm in the third episode and the series is not really what I thought it would be, but I still thought that I could draw some edification from it because, like I said, it's a part of prophecy that these billionaires and wealthy Edomites would build bunkers to try to escape the thermonuclear destruction, and many of them will escape the thermonuclear destruction, but they will not escape the coming judgment that's coming to their nation. And so in the series, I'm not going to spoil it, but you can imagine what's going on in the series. But it took a little bit of a turn, I believe, in the second or third episode, and it's not really what I thought it was going to be, but you can still watch it. Now, I asked ChatGPT, I said, why are billionaires building bunkers? It says billionaires have been building luxury bunkers for a mix of practical, psychological, and strategic reasons. Some of the main motivations, and what's the top motivation? It says fear of global instability, concerns about nuclear war. That's the number one thing that it listed. Nuclear war. Pandemics, cyber attacks, terrorisms, or state collapse, meaning a complete breakdown of society. But the number one reason is the fears of nuclear war, which the Bible prophesies. Okay, the war of Armageddon. Okay, the war, also known as the war to end all wars, which World War III will be a nuclear war, and it will be the war of Armageddon that the Bible speaks about. And see, these billionaires, they know about it. So it says economic and social unrest. Rising inequality fuels fear of social unrest, or the rich versus the poor backlash. Some billionaires openly worry about social collapse if the global financial system crashes. All of these things are prophesied to take place, from the crashing of the economy to the collapsing of the police, or collapsing of the state, and nuclear war. Even pandemics. The Bible speaks about pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And so really what these billionaires are hiding from is the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Now, I asked ChatGPT, my next question was, does the Bible speak to this fact that they would build bunkers in the last days? And once again, this time Chat was on point. It says, yes, the Bible does describe something very similar. While it doesn't use the modern word bunker, it repeatedly says that in the last days, people, including rich and powerful, will try to hide underground from judgment and world-shaking events. Isaiah 2, verse 19 through 21, and they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth, for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty, when he shall arise to shake terribly the earth. Isaiah prophesied that when God brings judgment, people will literally hide in caves and underground places. Revelation chapter 6, verse 15. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him who sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, which is Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. This matches exactly what we see today, the wealthy and powerful preparing underground shelters. The passage shows that even the rich cannot escape God's judgment. Bunkers won't save them. Woo! Bunkers won't save you, Rothschilds, you Rockefellers, you top international banking families, you Edomites. Bunkers will not save you, man. All right? Amos 9 and 2. Though they dig into hell, which it says Sheol, but that's the Hebrew word Sha'al. It says, though they dig into hell, which is the grave or underground, from there my hand shall take them. Though they climb up to heaven, from there I will bring them down. God says no matter how deep people dig into the earth, they cannot hide from him. So it says in closing, so yes, the Bible foresaw that in the end times, the rich and powerful would seek refuge underground in caves, holes, or man-made shelters. But it also makes clear those places won't protect them from God's judgment. And a key precept to bring out concerning that, I'm going to go to Jeremiah. Because the Lord's elect, the ones of the nation of Israel who are delivered, they're going to hunt you, rich and powerful men, out of those bunkers. And you're going to go head first into slavery. Because like I said, you will survive the nuclear destruction. A lot of you, the ones of you that are smart enough to build your bunkers outside of America, Babylon the Great, and outside of the land of Israel, you will survive the nuclear destruction. But you're going to go right into slavery because the Lord's elect are going to hunt you out of those holes. It says in Jeremiah 16 and 16, behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them. That's what we're doing right now. We're fishing for the Lord's elect out there on the highways and byways, casting out the bait, which is the word, the preaching of the gospel, and we're fishing for the Lord's elect. It says, and after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill. So from every country, both small and great, and out of the holes of the rocks. And out of the holes of the rocks. Let me go to this word holes. See what it says in the Hebrew. Out of the holes. The word for holes is nakwayak. Nakwayak. A cleft of rock. To bore. Right. So you bore a hole in a rock. A cleft. A hole. So a hole in a rock. That's what a bunker is. The word rocks. A cliff. A rock. A fortress. A stony fortress. A stronghold. Right. So people are making fortresses in the holes of a mountain. The Lord's going to hunt them out of those mountains. I'm going to go to that Isaiah 2 and read that one and see what that Hebrew word says as well, just to make sure it's the same Hebrew word. Isaiah 2 and 19, which speaks about the lofty looks of man being brought low. Because you rich and powerful Edomites, you actually think that your bunkers are going to allow you to rise from the ashes and rebuild society. Let me ask ChatGPT, do billionaires believe they will reset how you spell destruction, excuse me. Get out of here. It says, do billionaires believe they will reset society after nuclear destruction? Yes, many of them do. The mindset isn't just about survival. It's about being in position to restart society on their own terms if the world collapses. This is sometimes called resiliency planning or even a doomsday reset. And this is in vain. You know, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? You're not going to rise up from the phoenix, from the ashes after nuclear destruction. Like I said, you're going head first into slavery. As a matter of fact, the Lord is only allowing you to survive so that you can be the first fruits of slavery. It says a nuclear war or global collapse will wipe out existing governments and infrastructure. Billionaires with bunkers believe that by stockpiling food, water, energy, weapons, and technology, they could outlast the chaos. When the dust settles, they have resources others don't. giving them leverage to rebuild and rule. Tech-controlled New World Order. Some billionaires, especially in Silicon Valley, imagine using AI, robotics, and private security to maintain order in their bunkers. It says, after emerging, they believed they could set up a more controlled, optimized version of civilization, often around their own values or technology. Historical precedents. The powerful throughout history have always tried to outlive collapse. Kings and fortresses, nobles and castles, Cold War elites, and underground shelters. The billionaire bunker movement is a modern extension of that same instinct. So that's all I need. Isaiah 2 and verse 19. I'm going to start at 17. And the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of man shall be made low. And Yahweh alone shall be exalted in that day, and the idols shall he utterly abolish. And they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for fear of Yahweh and for the glory of his majesty, when he shall arise to shake the earth, to terribly shake the earth. In that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made, each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats, to go into the clefts of the rock and into the tops of the ragged rocks, for fear of Yahweh and for the glory of his majesty, when he shall arise to shake terribly the earth. Let's go to this word, caves. They will go into the caves of the earth. The word for caves is makhala. Makhala, a hole, a cavern, as if excavated, right? So they're excavating these caves. A man-made hole or man-made cave. Now let's go to the word into the top of the ragged rocks. As a matter of fact, in the NLT, it says Isaiah 2 and 21, while they crawl away into caverns and hide among the jagged rocks and the cliffs, they will try to escape the terror of Yahweh and the glory of his majesty as he arises to shake the earth. The word for clefts is nachwara. It says a hole, a crevice. The word for rocks is tazawar. Tazawar, rock, cliff, block of rock, boulder, a rock, a refuge. Also an edge, strength, sharp stone. The word for ragged rocks is salai, crag, cliff, rock, cliff, fortress, ragged rock, stony. So the Bible clearly speaks about this. And it also says that they're going to be the first fruits into slavery because they're going to survive the nuclear destruction just to go into slavery under the Israelites. Let's see. This is Revelation chapter 9 and verse 20. It says, and the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, the plagues is referring to the nuclear missiles, and the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornications, nor of their thefts. So this shows you that there are going to be men who are not killed of the plagues, but those powerful, rich men are going to go straight into slavery. Isaiah, this is Isaiah. Let's see. Isaiah 24 and verse 21. And it shall come to pass in that day. Yeah, I mean, we could start up, but Isaiah 24 and verse 18. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken into the snare. So when they go in them holes, they're gonna go in it because of the fear of the destruction. But when they come out, they're gonna be taken into chains. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down because of the nuclear destruction. The earth is clean dissolved because of the nuclear fire. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth is going to shake in that day violently. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. And the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered into the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. So they're going to go into captivity. They're going to go into slavery. But then after many days, they're going to be taken off of the earth. The Edomites are going to be exterminated, pursuant to Obadiah, the 18th verse. But the Lord's going to punish the host of the high ones that are on high. Psalms chapter 139. Let's see. That's a 149. Yeah. Psalms 149, verse 7. Let's start at 6. It says, let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron. So the kings of the earth are going to be the first ones that are going to be binded with chains, and the nobles of the earth are going to be locked down with fetters of iron. It says, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh, because it's the kings of the earth and the nobles of the earth who are responsible for putting the Israelites into slavery. It says in the book of Revelation 13, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. So there's nothing that they can do to escape the coming punishment of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, even if they dig into the earth, even if they make an underground city. It don't matter. You couldn't go wherever you want to go. The Lord's going to have his elect hunt you out of these holes, and you're going straight into slavery. Lord, this edifying. Kwame Asherallah. Shalom.